I'd usually do if it was possible, is to remove this leather pick. Drop the camera. What's up guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be painting part of the leathers in my car. Now, don't be scared, right? This is a questionable process. There's two methods to this. First method, it only works on some leathers, which is it's an ink, liquid, a dye. It lasts the longest because you're actually changing the color of the leather. But unfortunately, I've already tested the leathers in my car. It doesn't look like it accepts the dyeing method. So that only leaves me option 2, which is to paint leather. Now painting it is more of a coating, and that's purely down to how durable it is. So what I'm going to be doing, the initial idea was to paint the seats. Now I've sort of shied away from this because I'm not sure how durable this painting process will be. Just because I'm sitting on the seats every day, constantly, it's going to wear down pretty quickly. So I'm not going to be doing the seats. However, I'm going to be doing the door cards. I've already done the front door cards, so you see how that's turned out. And I've had that on there for about 5 or 6 months, and they haven't worn at all. There's no scuffing, there's no scratches, there's no loss of colour. So that's why I'm going forwards, and I'm doing the rear door cards as well, and a few other little bits of the trim just to sort of brighten up the interior, because I've got a full black interior and it's just looking a little to the dull now. So without further ado, let me show you the bits I need to carry this process out. So I've got an engine degreaser, so this is basically a general purpose degreaser. I'm going to be using this to get the grease off of the leathers, all the oils. So I've got a box of sponges, I've got matting agent. This is what you add to the paint just to make it a bit more matte, less shiny. The colour I'll be going for is a red. Don't worry, this isn't like a bright red. It's a very dark, almost like a burgundy red. I've got some gloves, masking tape to mask off on any of the bits that I don't want to coat, and mixing bowl, sponge already in there. I've got these brushes. They're not really brushes, they're like a brush but with a sponge on the end, and that's just to get into the corners. Alright, so let's get this started. Got the degreaser in here. We're just going to spray this down, let it soak in for about 1 or 2 minutes, and then dab it all down, and then I'm going to spray it again and use the toothbrushy thing to basically scrub off all the grease. So let's get started. And same applies for the other bit. Right, it's been about 1 or 2 minutes. You can see it's starting to dry off. I'm going to give it another spray and then get scrubbing. Now to wipe it all down. So I thought I needed. So you want to give this enough time to dry. So towel it down, tap it down as much as you can, get all of the grease off back off of it, and try and wipe all of that grease off all of the surrounding area. So I've done all of that. I want to let it dry for a little bit, get all of the moisture off, let it just evaporate the bits you can't reach. In the meantime, I'm going to be masking off all of the bits I don't want to spray. So I'm not going to be spraying this armrest area, just because I know this is going to get rubbed and leaned on a lot, and I don't want it to scuff or get ruined. So I'm only going to be spraying, colouring this portion of the leather. So let's get masking. A quick point I'd like to make. What I would usually do is remove this leather piece altogether away from the trim and dye it separately from the car. But I've had to do it this way because what BMW does is they plastic rivet this piece onto the door card. So for me to be able to get that out, I'd have to drill out the plastic rivets and find a way to re-rivet this part back in again, which I'm not prepared to do. So masking it is, you just have to do a really good job of it. Right, so just popped indoors to grab the colours. Had to double check to see what kind of mixture I did before for the front doors. What it is 2 parts of matting agent to 4 parts of colour. It says do not exceed 50%, and I'm using the lids as my measuring. Right, so that's all mixed up. We can begin to colour the leather. That's what you want to do. These are the drawbacks of doing it outside. Dab the sponge in there. Get a reasonable amount on. And the first coating should be a light dab just to get into the nooks and crannies of all the grains in the leather.
So I thought I needed
So that's the first coat dry, so time for the second coat. Next, we grab our brush. After it's dried a little bit, we're going to go through with the brush and just brush along the surface. And what that'll do is get rid of any sort of clumped up bits of paint that can stick onto it. Right, so this is after about 3 or 4 layers. You can still tell it's a little bit patchy in some places. So what we do at this stage, see the patchiness around here as well. So what we do at this stage is, I've finished a 3rd or 4th coat. It's still a little bit wet. What I'm going to do now is going to give it a good amount of time to dry between this coat and the next coat. Right, so it's been about 20 minutes. It's had some time to dry. Most of the blotchiness has gone away and it's safe to touch. It's fully dry. So the next few coats should help cover up any bit of blotchiness that's left and give it some clean, even coating. Right, so on to the final coats. While I'm letting the final layers dry a little bit, I thought I'd show you guys the front. So there's the front 2 door cards have been done, as well as the gear gator in the middle. I done those about 6 months ago, and they've really withstood the test of time. I mean, there's no cracks, no peeling, no wear. The colour's really stood up and hasn't worn out, which is brilliant. So the next step, I'm still thinking about it, I'm still trying to decide, is to recolor the bottom half of the dashboard. This is actually something that BMW do as standard. They turn the bottom half of the dash down here to the color of the trim or some of the rest of the car. to brighten up the interior. It's actually called the extended color package or something like that. So I'm still contemplating that. If you think I should go ahead and do that, comment down below. Let me know what you guys think. Finished up on the opposite side. As you can see, it's turned out quite even, but I'm losing sunlight, so I'm going to let it dry overnight. I'm going to leave the masking tape on as well, just in case I need to do a bit more touch up. And yeah, we'll know by tomorrow morning how good it goes. I've finished that side as well. They all look even, both have the same number of coats. They've come out nice and matte. They match the front as well, which is good. So yeah, once it dries up, we'll see tomorrow morning how good it goes. So, peace out. So right, it's been like 2 days. It's been raining like crazy. Need to unlock the car first. So, that's what it looks like. Finally dried. So, what you want to do is when you're removing it, you can see here bits where the paint has made contact with the tape. The safest way to remove this is to run a blade between the tape and the door card, separating the two, then you can just pull off the tape like normal. So I'm just going to do that now and we can see the finished product. Here's the finished product. Nice and clean edge along the top, as you can see. There is a few bits that are going to need a bit of a clean up, so around here where you see a little bit where the paint sort of splattered onto here, these are quite easy to remove. You can remove with your nail if you really want to, but the best way to do it is with a bit of thinner, using a cotton bud or the edge of a tissue. You just wipe those off and it comes straight off. Got a little bit of seeping over onto this leather. Again, just a touch of thinner, careful not to wipe out any of the red that you want to stay on there. Maybe mask this side up very lightly and just give that a little bit of a touch up with a bit of thinner, and that'll come straight off, and then you've got a beautifully painted door card. So after a little bit of a clean up around the edges with some thinner, the door cards look like they came straight from factory. I'm really pleased with the results. As always, if you enjoyed the channel, hit that subscribe button and feel free to share the video. I am new to YouTube, so your feedback and support will really help improve the channel and create better content for you all. You're watching Made to Drive, and I'll see you all for the next project.